So I'm out on a recovery run with him. We're arguing already. We are out on a lovely recovery run after a hard few days, and we thought now was a good time, with marathons fast approaching, to discuss and talk and reflect about our marathon mistakes, regrets, what we have done in our many marathons between us that possibly we wouldn't do again. Pass on some knowledge.
I've not made any mistakes.
There's been plenty. I have run 6 marathons and Matt has run
16.
16.
Well, I started 18. I finished 16.
Oh, yeah, so that's a lot of marathons. And we've also got the range of times and different experiences with the marathon. My PB currently stands at 4:45, whereas Matt is sub-elite with his PB standing at
2:29.
2:29. We're both working on it. But that's not the point of this video. We're not talking about PBs. We're just saying that we've got the different experiences, the different backgrounds, what we have learnt from making mistakes in our marathons, and hopefully we can pass on some information to you guys so you can either avoid them or make them or relate to them. Maybe you've made the same mistakes as well, but by talking and sharing what we've done, what we haven't done, what's worked.
You'll never have to make the same mistakes as us. Do as we say, not as we do.
One thing that I've definitely learnt is don't try anything new on race day or leading up when it comes to food. I had horrific Berlin the first time round, the second time round. Yeah, trying new foods or nutrition plans at any point around your marathon is a big no-no. Berlin first time round, I got swept up with eating bananas on the course. Never tried them.
You never tried a banana?
Yeah, tried the bananas, but not whilst I was running, and every 5k. So that resulted in many a Portaloo trip. It was savage. But also leading up to the race, I think Matt might be able to tell you a bit more about that one.
Yeah, so, well, in a couple of regards really. Firstly, I've carbo loaded too hard so many times. Well, especially for Frankfurt, I was so stressed that I needed to get enough carbs in. And I was just so bloated the days before because I just went really hard on the pasta. And I think if you're lowering your volume of training, you don't need to carb load that hard. You just need to increase the carbs, but not to the degree I was doing it. Just trust your training, trust the taper, and increase the carbs, but don't go crazy.
I think it's the volume of carbs as well, little and often.
Yeah, definitely.
You were sat down eating mountains of pasta,
yeah,
mountains of the stuff.
And I was feeling sick. I was like, I can't eat anymore, but I've got to. I don't want to go in not carbo loaded.
Yeah.
But also planning what you're going to eat the day before, and maybe even having a plan B. So in Berlin, we had the situation where the restaurant that we booked basically said we couldn't go there, and they were, oh no, we ordered takeaway, didn't we?
Yeah, we ended up with Domino's.
Yeah, they wouldn't send the takeaway because the restaurant was so full. And in the end, there was nowhere to eat, and it was getting later and later. And we had to have a greasy pizza. Yeah. And then we both felt
grim.
A bit awful the next day.
Yeah.
So plan where you're going to eat, what you're going to eat.
And have a backup.
And have a backup plan.
Definitely have a backup. If you're travelling to any city or any destination for a major marathon, just any marathon, it can get really busy. It can get booked up, double booked. So yeah, be wary of that. Have a backup.
Book a restaurant and then have a backup plan as well. So another mistake I've made a couple of times is not sticking to the pace strategy. Thing is, you're so tapered, and the atmosphere and the nerves, you can just get carried away early on. And twice actually in a marathon, I've gone off and hit the front of the marathon. Like, I don't know what I was doing. I was leading at Manchester and at Brighton when I shouldn't have been. So yeah, that's something You need to stick to the strategy, stick to the pace, and not get swept up by the atmosphere and the fresh legs.
That also applies at my end of the scale, probably even more so. I've always gone off and done the first 5k like it's a 5k. You feel so good. You want to overtake people and settle into this amazing pace, and you waste all this energy, which will come and find you and make you pay. If you're running close to your 5k PB at the start of a marathon,
I think you know pretty much how training's gone, and if you're better off being a little slower than your marathon pace early on than a bit quicker. So don't get dragged into the pace of the crowd, just pace it smartly.
Okay, quiet now. You don't want to scare the bats in the back cave.
So talking about pacing, not only do I think you need to have a strategy, pace strategy, but you need to have an idea of what sort of times you're going to hit the different splits, because GPS can go crazy in some of these big city marathons. In London, in Canary Wharf, every time I go through there, my GPS goes mental. So having an idea of what you want to hit, 25k, 30k, whatever it might be, can help you make sure that you're hitting the right splits, but also just trying to get into that marathon rhythm and just feel it out, which is so important to do marathon pacing training, so you know what it feels like, and yeah, you can execute in a marathon.
Yeah, feel is so important in a marathon, because that's been a mistake that I've made before, is sticking to a pace for the pace's sake, even when it's felt harder than it should do, and instead of perhaps backing off, saving it, seeing if it'll come back, listening to my body and the pace and how my body should feel at marathon pace, I've just been a bit pig-headed and gone with a set pace, which could have been incorrect because of GPS, or just wasn't right on the day. You still have to listen to your body on race day, just like you do in training. Okay, here's one that I have been very guilty of, and that's over tapering. Now this is the lead up obviously to your race day, so not really race day specific, but before, quite a few times now in some cycles, I've hit taper and completely switched off. And yes, the work is banked. You've done all of the long runs, the big sessions, everything else, but it's so easy to switch off in taper. And I feel like for me personally, it's definitely been a mistake, that I still need to be showing up for those easy runs, the shorter sessions, keeping the pop in my legs, keep moving, keep doing what my body's been used to for the past X number of weeks.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Like I've done it as well. Like if you over taper, you almost think that you don't need to go out for the run because our rest day is just as good as a short, easy run, but you lose the rhythm, your body starts to shut down. You want to just keep on getting out on your runs, keeping some intensity in there as well, and it'll just mean that you turn up to race day feeling good and fresh rather than a bit stale.
No one wants to be stale, although you have got 26.2 miles to loosen back up again. There is a slight caveat with that one. Now, I have done marathons injured, I've done them ill. If you are reducing your taper quite a bit because of an injury or an illness, then forget about what I've just said.
Yeah, but I would argue that if you're injured, then you shouldn't do the marathon full stop.
Another mistake I've made. Now, when it comes to running with an injury in your marathon, you have really got to ask yourself, why are you running this marathon? So my first London, I was injured, didn't run much at all in the lead up to it, but I was raising money for charity. I was going for the experience, and it turned into an emotional experience. It was painful, but I raised thousands of pounds for charity. If I wasn't doing it for charity, if I didn't need another marathon experience, if I wouldn't be able to go for a time goal that I'd been aiming for, and that was important to me, now I would miss the marathon. You can go again. So you need to make sure that if you're running it injured with any niggle or anything, be really honest with yourself and ask why you are doing that. And think about your longevity with running, how that will also impact the rest of your year or longer.
Yeah, spot on. I think you shouldn't really run it with a marathon injured, with a niggle or anything, but if it's really important to you and it's, you're raising money for charity, maybe you can take a run-walk approach and try and get to the finish. And but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
It hurts. Marathons hurt whether you're fit or not, whether you're injured or not, but it hurts a hell of a lot more.
It is thinking, oh, you know, I'm prepared, I'm mentally tough, I know my race strategy, but then when it gets really tough in the marathon, not having something mental to draw on, not having a mantra ready. I feel like when you're really struggling and you've hit the wall, or you're just like trying to cling on, if there's not a mentally thing ready, prepared, it's hard to think one up and to really make it mean something. So marathons after that, I've taken in mantras, ready, prepared, so when it gets tough, I think of that, something personal to myself, and it gets me through.
Hang on, parquet. Okay, come on then. Give us some of your mantras. What gets you through? What gets you through when it gets tough?
They're mainly personal, like...
Your why is
exactly.
a brilliant reason.
I think you've got to come up with your own mantras that work for yourself. I don't think you can really just take someone else's, otherwise it's not personal to you, and when it gets tough, it won't mean enough.
Or you can go something really simple. Stay in the mile you're in. Don't look at the whole 26.2 miles. Just focus on your mile. Run the mile you're in. Run brave, run strong, tick that one off. And just remember that whether you're running good or bad, this too shall pass. You can get through bad moments. You will come out the other side, especially in a marathon.
Alright, cliche city.
But it's better than I haven't got a mantra. Okay, talking of cliche city. So I listened to a podcast the other day, and Mo Gaudat was on there on about negative thoughts. Now when you're running your marathon, you will at some stage have a negative thought. Now the idea is to replace that negative thought, that the reaction to that negative thought is approximately 60 to 90 seconds. So acknowledge that thought. I've hit the wall, this is tough. But replace it with a positive, almost immediately. And there's always a positive to be found. I've run really well up to now. Actually, my legs do feel good. Another mile and I get to see my wife, my husband, my children. Any positive you can find.
Go Kipchoge on it. Think about the fact that you're lucky, you're out here running, smile and just embrace it. Like, he says smile and it takes away the pain because it actually works. If you just focus on smiling, it sends a signal to your brain which somehow takes away a little bit of that pain.
Okay, another mistake that I have made when going for big goals is I have got so wrapped up by my goals that it has just ruined everything else about the marathon, especially when I haven't actually been honest with myself about whether those goals are achievable or not. So this goes more for like time-based marathons. If you're looking to hit a certain time, then you'll know your paces, you'll know what you need to do. You will also know yourself, regardless of if you've got a coach or not, how your training's gone and how it's all felt in training. So my advice to avoid the really hard place that you can get to when you're going after a goal that's time-based is to have realistic expectations. Amend it if you have to. Have backups, have A, B, C goal, and make sure you have a goal that is not time related. No matter who you are, what time you're going for, something, even if it is just complete another marathon. So you're not left flat and disappointed. The honesty beforehand pays off in the long run.
Yeah, I think it's spot on. I've put pressure on, massive pressure on myself with goals. But at the end of the day, it's just a race, it's just a marathon. Like, yes, I want to hit my goal, but if you can remove some of that pressure and try and enjoy it at the same time, I think you're more likely to hit your goal. And if you don't, it doesn't really matter. Like, for me, it's the process of marathon training. The marathon is just a celebration of all that hard work you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's your victory lap. Enjoy it.
Here's a big mistake I've made, and it's not one I've really thought about. It's what you do in the day before the marathon. So in Cheshire, I felt like I was in amazing shape, but I spent, what, 7-8 hours in the car the day before?
Yeah.
And on the day then, I had an issue I've never had in training before or since with my quads. Something just went wrong really early on. And I think that had something to do with being cramped up in the car the whole day before. But also, that's travel, but you can also think about one London marathon. My family would drag me around art galleries the day before. Not really ideal. You need to think about
the energy expenditure the day before is important. Yeah.
Exactly. You want to stay off your feet as much as you can. You might have to go to the expo.
Check out.
Some of these things have to be done, but think about the rest of your day. So one that I've just thought of, which I thought was important to add in, is don't sabotage your race on race weekend or race week. I've got a tendency to like travel over to a city like Berlin and then just start eating Mexican food and buying sweets and basically justifying, oh, I've got a marathon in 2 days' time, so why am I eating a pot of fizzy sweets? I can eat those after the race. You can eat whatever you want after the race and enjoy it. But I've got a tendency to almost justify eating a load of rubbish, which makes my stomach feel awful in the days leading up to the marathon. So yeah, don't sabotage your race on race weekend.
Final bit of discipline. Where's the camera? Final bit of discipline. I think that's what it's all about. Is you've shown so much discipline for weeks, months, you know, however long it is. Just an extra couple of days, and then you can go bonkers and celebrate. But don't go bonkers and relax before the marathon.
Stick to foods, you know, plain foods, and don't go crazy buying all the sweets like I do.
There we go. That is our marathon mistakes. Things that we've done that you should not do for your marathon. Sometimes you have to learn a mistake by doing it yourself.
Leave your mistakes that you've made in your marathons in the comments below, or even some tips to warn people of things that might go wrong.
Yes, please do let us know what your marathon mistakes have been, either just before your marathon day, or after the marathon. Love to hear your tales. Let's share our knowledge and hope that it stops just one person making the same mistake that you did.
And we can all have amazing marathons and no one makes any more mistakes.
Thanks for watching. Really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you are running a marathon this autumn, best of luck to you. I really hope that you have an amazing day. Remember that nobody can take away the fact that you are a marathoner. So go and enjoy your final victory lap.